Hi, my name is Krystal, and I'm here with BlackGirlGamers to interview Cheyenne Ewulu, who is better known as Cheyenne the Geek, and also the creator of the comic shop. Cheyenne, do you mind giving us some lore about you, letting us know some tidbits?
Yes. I met Krystal at the My Hero Academia premiere in 2018 before the world went to shit. And so
Very crazy. Very long time ago, actually.
That's my lore. Yeah, my name is Cheyenne. I am an all-around entertainer. I'm a comedian, I'm a writer, I'm an actor, I'm a host, and I'm an all-around nerd, as you can see. If you can't see from the background, I don't know if they're gonna blur it out for copyright reasons, but yeah, that's my lore.
Thank you. And now we have a multitude of questions to ask you about the comic shop. So let's get started with the development of the characters. So, first question, how did you decide on the personality types of the characters?
Man, so the comic shop features four friends who run a comic book store in Los Angeles, and they are pretty much struggling to keep the comic store afloat in an age where everybody's going digital and there's big box bookstores popping up everywhere, and they're having financial problems and also learning how to work as a team, so they kind of have dynamic issues. And it features the characters Keith Hendricks, played by Zeno Robinson, Dominique Smith, played by Shanae Cole, Stephanie Okeke, played by yours truly, and we actually added Grayson Niles as Connor Ross, which is basically the token white boy, but when I say his character is so funny, so pretty much when it comes to the personality types, I knew when I was writing I wanted everybody to have a piece of who I am as a person. So Stephanie, she's kind of the type A, very Virgo, very by the book, and so that's very much me. Anybody who hangs around me and has seen me work knows I'm very much that, very much full of anxiety. And then Keith is the smooth talker with big ideas and has terrible execution. And he's kind of the cooler one of the group. And I feel like Zeno just embodies that character so well. He said this is a character that has more traits that he would like to have in his normal everyday. And then we have Dominique, who's kind of the airhead and kind of the fashionista, and she's she's a lover girl, and she's quirky and really just fun, and that's another thing that I pulled out from me, even though I don't always show that side, but I am extremely quirky. And then we have Connor, who is the D&D addict, who is very condescending, kind of a smart ass. And so I think all of these traits are pretty much pulled from my personality and different ways I can act and behave. So that's what I wanted. They're all an extension of me. There you go. That's what I've been trying to figure out. That's the phrase. They're all an extension of me.
That's pretty cool. That also reminds me of that Teen Titans episode where Raven and all the different colored cloaks of her.
Oh yeah,
That reminds me of that. That's hilarious. But also super cool to be able to write your own personalities out as full-on characters. And with that, were there any characters that you came up with early on that ended up not making sense for the show as it continued to develop?
That's so funny. Yes, there were a few actually that ended up. So before the comic shop, I had written this rom-com, this queer rom-com that was focused on Stephanie, but her name was Raven at the time. But I was I don't know no Nigerians named Raven, so I just changed her name to Stephanie. But yeah, her name was Raven at the time, and it was 6 people, I think. So it was Stephanie, it was Dominique, it was Keith. I mean, it was Raven, it was Dominique, it was Keith, it was AJ. AJ was a queer character. They were non-binary, and they were fun. I really want to try to incorporate them throughout the series, but it just felt better to just have a core 4. And then,
core 4.
Yeah, core 4. Hey,
so cute.
And then there was, oh my God, there was another character. There was AJ and then somebody else. Oh, I forgot the name. But yeah, there was like 6 of them, and then I had to chop them down for like what made sense for the show as it is currently. And then like as I was like pitching it to, you know, different execs, it just made more sense to just like have a core 4 that they would, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and Stephanie is queer, so we still have the queerness in there. Like she's a lesbian. You know, we got to make her a lesbian. And so
Leslie, we had to get that in there regardless.
Yeah.
And also when you were talking about kind of like Zeno and how he was saying traits that Keith has, he kind of wishes or that he had more of. In regards to casting, do you feel like the characters influenced the cast, or did the cast you wanted influence the characters?
So when I was writing the pilot, for some reason, so I'm like a very visual person. As I write characters, I always have like a face for them in mind. And for some reason, I couldn't get Zeno's face out of my head when I was writing Keith. And I hadn't met him. Like, I think at the time this was like 2 years before I like completed the pilot, but like I don't think I met him, so I didn't know like what his personality was like. I just knew that we went to the same acting school, and yeah, that was, and like he was a voice actor. But like for some reason I was just like, I don't know, I feel like when I'm writing this, I see Zeno, even though I don't know what his personality is like, I feel like he can pull off a character like this real well. And of course, brain is so big because I was right. He's so
Very
good.
spot on.
So
Very
good.
spot on. It
so
was
good.
crazy.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, to that also, then, what was the casting process like? So you had visually Zeno in your head, but for other characters, how did you cast them?
Well, originally I didn't know if I wanted to play Stephanie. I thought I was gonna end up casting a friend and like seeing, you know, just having somebody else do it just so I can like sit back and direct and do all the creative stuff behind the show. But then a friend of mine was like, why wouldn't you play the character that's based off of you? So that's how that came about. So that's how that came to be. When it comes to Dominique, I had a couple girls in mind. I had a couple women in mind for that character. But Shanae I had known for like such a long time, and I think she had just posted something about being on Grownish, and I was like, I forget, this girl can act, like, and she literally just like looks like this character. Like she just like embodies everything that Dominique is, and she has the outfits. That was like a plus because she makes her own outfits. And so the outfit that you see her wearing in the trailers and like in the little clips, she made those. Like she made that, the whole Wonder Woman 2-piece. And so that was perfect. And then it was a lot. Luckily, I have a lot of talented friends in my circles and circles. And so it never had to be like an audition process. I literally just, I'm the type of person that wants to see like, okay, who's hungry, who wants to be a part of something cool, like, you know, who wants to work, like, you know, who wants to be a part of this creative process. And so I usually just like reach out to people. I'm like, hey, I know you can act. Do you want to play this character? Trust me when I say that you would be perfect for this character. And I just kind of like go with my gut and hope that they trust me to make the right decision for them, and like that I'm not steering them wrong. And so yeah, that's how that goes.
You did a great job. All of them feel so very like they're in a sense like they're playing themselves, but there's like another layer of like, this isn't me, but like deep down, this is basically me. So yeah, great job. What the heck? So next question, why do you think it's important to have a show like The Comic Shop right now?
You know, weird Black nerds exist. I don't know, in 2024 I have to keep saying that, even though I feel like nerd culture isn't really a niche thing anymore. It's like become pop culture now. I mean, we have Megan Thee Stallion rapping about anime, you know, like, so I feel like nerd culture is popular now, and just especially like Black nerds, we shouldn't be a secret anymore. You know, we love comics, we love anime, we love geekdom, you know. And so I always felt like there was never a show that really represented how I felt, like my kind of nerdiness, or like, you know, my kind of Blackness. And I feel like the only characters that I've ever like truly related to on television was like Raven from That's So Raven, and maybe even Troy Barnes from Community. You know, he was kind of like the blurred guy. You know, Donald Glover was the blurred guy at the time, and so I was like, well, what if we had characters that lots of Black nerds and like nerds of color can relate to, and we had like a whole ensemble cast of them, you know. But back to your question about like why it's important, you know, aside from the fact that representation is important, everybody needs to be seeing themselves represented in nerd media, in television, and, you know, media in general. I feel like it's important because I think we're in an age where it's time to do something different. We can't keep having the same TV shows over and over, the same stereotypes over and over. It's time to show we're not a monolith. It's time to show it. You know, it's time to have that be represented on television. And so I felt like a show that showcased a different side of Blackness with being nerds and being quirky and just being weird. I felt like it was time to show that side because I don't think we've seen it yet. And also any nerd show that I've seen on TV that's like nerd related, they always leave us out. Like, we're nerds, man. Like, we like this shit too. Where are our roles? You know, where are our characters? And so I was like, let me just make a whole ensemble cast of Black folks that love this shit because I know we exist. Like, this is the community I live and breathe in every single day since I was like, what, 7 years old? And so, yeah, so.
Yeah, and you kind of already answered this question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway in case your brain thinks of something else. But why do you think, or what do you think separates the comic shop from other workplace comedies and mockumentary series?
Well, we're in a comic book store, so that's like a location that nobody really thinks of. I love like taking a super mundane location and just like finding out how to turn it on its head and like make it funny. And then also, it's super nerdy, but like it's also relatable. So like nerds obviously will find things that they love about it, but I feel like people who aren't in that space will also find things that they super love about it. And honestly, a lot of the episode themes that we're trying out, without giving like too much away, I feel like, I mean, we're planning like a D&D episode, you know, like, so we're not like, we're trying to kind of turn the workplace comedy genre on its head. Especially like with how we're planning on doing the cinematography for some of the episodes. And so we're not your we're not your typical workplace comedy. You're just gonna have to trust us on that. You're just gonna have to trust me when I say that.
I trust you off rip. From trailer alone, I said she's got it. You know, cool. So you can also kind of answer this one too, but
I'm a yapper girl.
And you know what? I appreciate you for it. No, keep going, please. But who are some of your inspirations as a director and also as an actor?
Donald Glover, number one. He's literally on my vision board up there. He's like one of the people that I would love to work with. I just think he's so cool. Like the way he just does everything and dominates every field and like every space in media without giving a shit and like breaking a sweat. Like he's just so great. And I feel like he truly does want to do something different, and Atlanta is like one of my top 10 favorite shows. And of course Issa Rae, I love how she came from doing a web series to having her own series on HBO, and then, you know, just becoming a media mogul. That's definitely like a route that I want to follow for myself career-wise. And Raven Simone, oh my gosh, she's a comedic genius, like a comedic acting genius. Like, I mean, a lot of like my personality came from, you know, watching her play Raven when she, you know, was on That's So Raven. And so I always think back to a lot of the work that she did when I was, you know, growing up, trying to figure out who I wanted to be. And she's a lesbian, so that's even, you know, that's even better. Like I feel very seen when I see Raven. So.
Nice. Yeah, Donald Glover's crazy. Every time I see him do anything, I'm like, what else? What else can he?
I know, like, let us breathe, bro. Like, you know?
Oh my God. You did the concert? You were going to LA, right? Did you go?
No, I was gonna go to the one in Texas, one of the ones in Texas, but he canceled, and so I was like, oh, well, that works out actually because I want to travel for my birthday, and so.
And you did, and I saw you.
I did.
we're getting off topic, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so next question is, what parts of your personality or career do you think were most fundamental in helping you get to this point?
This point as in?
As in having a series that you are trying to get funded, from the process from beginning to end, having casted people, even from your documentary you did, from everything that you did to now, personality and career-wise, how do you think that helped you get to where you are now? I hope that helped. I don't know.
Yeah. No. I got you. I'll figure it out. I'll word vomit. Well, first, I'm a Virgo, and I'm very, so I'm very serious about my shit, you know? Like, I'm very sensitive about my stuff, my work. And so, I'm also Nigerian, so that means I'm very stubborn. And so...
What a combo.
So just those two things off the bat, automatically, you knew there was going to be something in the pipeline. But yeah, you know, like you said, I created a documentary like in 2016. It was my first, or not 2016, 2015, I think. And it was like my first, you know, full-length project. It was a documentary called Shades of Cosplay about, and I followed like 4 Black cosplayers who, you know, discussed, you know, racism within the cosplay community. I followed them through different contests at different cons, and that premiered at MagFest. And I realized from that moment, I was like, I like doing this stuff. Like, even though I only had like a Canon camera and a dream at the time, I was just like, I would love to keep doing this stuff. And I guess just like moving to LA just gave me the confidence that I needed to be able to like pursue film and TV a lot more. And then I made my first short film. So like the first one was a feature technically. And then this one is my first short film, which was Ex-Roommate, which I wrote about, like, which came to me when I had like this terrible roommate situation. And I just wanted to, like, I guess, dramatize it, I guess. And that's like where that horror film Ex-Roommate came in, which stars my friend Christina Ariel, who's love her down. And then I was like, okay, I think I like making, you know, I like casting Black people and like writing stories around Black characters. And so I just I knew the next thing that I did needed to be more, I needed to be able to like relate to it a lot more, and I wanted it to be a comedy. And so I came up with like different ideas of a rom-com and all that stuff. But then I finally sat down and I was like, I told one of my producer friends, cinematographer friends, Matt Smith, who was a cinematographer for the short we shot last year. We were working through like different projects, and I sat down with him and I showed him the romantic comedy about a girl named Raven who wanted to be a comic book writer, and she entered this contest, and, you know, stuff ensued from there. And I showed him, he was like, I don't know about this one. Like, you know, it's good, but like we need to, you know, straighten it out a little more. And I was like, okay, how can I straighten it out a little more? And then randomly one day I was like, damn, you know, it'd be funny, a workplace comedy about a comic book store. A place that I frequent oh so fucking much. And so there's a lot of crazy shit that happens in comic book stores. And so I showed it to him, and the moment that he said, like, this is the one, I was like, yeah, we got a banger right here. Like, this is it. This is the one. Like, we gotta go full on out. So I don't know if that answered the question, but basically I'm a Virgo and I'm Nigerian. So
yeah. I think those 2 points were really all you had to say. Yeah, deadly combo. But look where it got you. So, you know, and then kind of to build on top of that, what from the process of the comic shop do you think you've learned something about yourself? Question.
Yeah, so I definitely learned that it's okay to let other people take the lead. I am nothing if I can't do everything the way I want it and by myself. And so I remember when we started, I was thinking of directing. I was gonna direct, I was gonna star, I was gonna write, I was gonna do all of these things. I was gonna wear all of these hats because that's just what I have to do. I have to do this in order to, you know, make this exactly the way I want it. And then somewhere down the line, I realized I can't do it all. I need to take some of these hats off and, you know, give them to other people who are just as hungry and as excited to work as I am. And so that's when I hit up my friend Robert Butler, who directed the short that we shot last year, and I knew he was perfect because he's in this world, he's in the nerd space. You know, he knows comics, he knows superheroes, he knows geekdom, and so and he's like a young director from Compton, and he just got my vision so well, and you know, the rest was history from there. So yeah, definitely making sure that I take a step back and not feel like I have to do everything is a big thing for me, because I am very much the type of person who feels like she has to do everything in order for things to turn out the way she wants. But you don't always need to be that. You don't always need to be Superman. Like you know, you gotta have a Justice League around you that can help you do things that you can't. Oh, you see what I did there?
Yeah.
Clip that, Chad.
Clip that.
Chad, did I just eat or what? Was that fire or what, Chad? But yeah, I just cooked, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was fire. Okay, so kind of going to the Justice League, where did your love for comics originate from, and how did that influence your work on the show?
So I've always been a nerd since my dad bought us an SNES. I'm aging myself, but when he bought us our first SNES, from there I knew that cartoons and 2D animation and just video games was going to be my life for the rest of my life. I started with Kids WB and Batman the Animated Series and Batman Beyond, which were like my two favorite shows growing up, and Static Shock. So those three, I would say, really influenced before I even knew what comics were and like what like the DC universe was and the Marvel universe. Because at the time I was still heavily obsessed with anime, and like I was like very much an anime girl, and I was like not willing to like move my stance because I was like, anime is it. I don't care about anything else. I got introduced to all those shows, you know, after watching Pokemon on Kids WB. And that kind of opened the gateway for me to learn more about these characters and obsess a lot more about those characters, and then find Marvel eventually, and then eventually find Image Comics, and then, you know, so yeah.
Nice. And a bit of me and Cheyenne lore about that. I forgot what it was. I was on Twitter and I was like, I don't know what I was talking about, something probably DC related, and you were like, you need to watch all of the animated like DC movies on HBO Max, and I was like, okay, and I watched one, and then I got hooked, and I watched all of them, and it was just shout out Cheyenne.
I do what I can.
What are some of your favorite comics and why?
Some of my favorite comics, Robin War is definitely up there. I think it's really cool that they're able to get a bunch of young kids together and, you know, fight for justice because they look up to the symbol that is Robin, and it shows that Robin is in everybody, you know, no matter what gender, what race, you know, everybody is Robin, and everybody can make a difference and do what Robin does. So that's definitely like very much up there. What is another favorite? Oh, I can't say that. We got clocked for some reason. Well, we're just gonna say Robin War for now. I'm just gonna say.
And what a great one to say. Okay, so kind of going back to your banger of a quote about the Justice League and Superman, making a show is a collaborative effort. So how do you go about finding and working with the right people?
What did Issa Rae say? She had a great quote about networking across.
Yep, I literally, whenever I think of that quote, I think of you, because you literally embody that exact same thing with this. Like, I'm gonna let you spit though. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Issa Rae has this great quote about networking across and like seeing who's next to you, you know, because everybody has a habit. She said everybody has a habit of like wanting to reach up, you know, for people that are above them, instead of just like looking across and looking who's next to them, who's just as talented, who's accessible, and so that's pretty much how I live my life when it comes to like a lot of my projects. I never really care to like seek out the person with 1 million followers or something. I'm always like looking for my friends, and a lot of my friends don't even use social media, but I know they're talented. They don't have to show it. I know they're talented because I know these people, and they're ready to work. They're ready to be a part of something cool, and so a lot of times it's just like looking at who's in my circle, literally just like looking who's in my circle. I don't have to look very far because everybody's 9 times out of 10 they're in this, trying to be in this industry or in this industry, and yeah, so that's pretty much how I navigate when it comes to my projects and like finding people to collaborate with.
Nice. Next question. What challenges have you faced in building a community in this industry, and how have you overcome them?
What challenges have I faced building a community in this industry? Building a community in this industry?
If any at all. Like maybe a network, like people you can reach out to. Yeah.
I would say like there are some people who are very like, you can encounter people who are very like crabs in a bucket, have that like kind of crabs in a bucket mentality, and so they feel like if you're eating, they can't eat, you know what I mean? And so I will say like sometimes unfortunately you encounter people like that, but I mean as long as you don't pick up that negative mentality and just stick to yourself and be genuine, you'll be fine. But I think that's probably it. And then also having projects with majority Black cast and majority Black characters, and you know, trying to get it seen, it's not the easiest thing. I'm learning. I'm new at all of this, like all of this exec stuff. Like I'm new, and so I've learned that it's not very easy to pitch a show with an all Black cast, who, especially when you don't have like A-listers attached to it. And so, but luckily, you know, we have like a really cool niche community who wants to see a project like this come to life and who believe in it just as much as we do. And so, yeah, sometimes you just got to go indie with it.
That's another banger. That's another. Wait, write that down. Chat, clip that.
Chat. Yeah, clip that.
Please. Okay. So, what skills do you think are essential for creating a successful production?
Multitasking, for one. Being an introvert. I'm an introvert, but you gotta extrovert yourself sometimes, you know, like you gotta learn to be communicative and like speak, because if you don't, you're not gonna get what you want. Closed mouths don't get fed. And so I'm learning that slowly but surely. Again, like I said before, don't feel like you have to take everything on. Like it's okay to like let other people be, you know, do what they're good at. Patience is number one. You gotta have patience. You gotta have patience, and you gotta have faith. You gotta really believe in your project. You gotta believe in the people around you and the people that are involved. Because if you don't, it's gonna be easy to give up. And I'm no motherfucking quitter. Can I curse on here? I don't know, but I'm not a quitter. And so,
we're going
you know,
Nigerian.
Oh my gosh, I had a friend actually who was spitting the other day. Like he had this quote, and he said, You're not responsible for the outcome, but you are responsible for your effort. And I was like, you ate that, because that is so true. If you don't try, then you know what is there? Like you have nothing, you know, if you don't try. And so
also another cool thing I took from Cheyenne, I forgot what it was, but it was something about kind of like when you make, I think it was specifically for like Instagram and stuff like that, and it was like when you're posting stuff, don't really think of it like how much is getting engaged, but see like a resume of your work and just like all the stuff that you've done. You said that a while ago, and every time I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing I worked so hard on, blah blah. I think, well, but Cheyenne said that this is my resume and blah blah this and that, and I was like, it helps kind of like not take it too seriously, but like not getting so stuck in expecting
the numbers game. Yeah, man. Like
great
I quit that game a long time ago. I was like, there's no reason for this. I'm not getting these exec meetings because I'm getting millions of views on my stuff. I'm getting them because people have recommended me because they like me as a person and believe in my project. And so, it's just a game that you don't want to get wrapped up in. It's
100%. Please, if you hear anything from this, please talk about that. Okay, so next question is, as a Black woman, how do you find the confidence to work in an industry that often doesn't reflect your identity?
I'm the kind of person who likes to take up space. Really? And so if I see a space and I'm like, I don't see somebody that looks like me here, let me go ahead and step in and see how I can like shake things up. Yeah, let me go ahead and do a stretch and see if I can like, find my way in. It's kind of like when I first moved out here, I did a lot of hosting, and I found out that like people can get paid to be nerds and talk on camera. Whoa. And this was like in 2018. And I was like, well, I want to do that. But like all the hosts that I would see on like all these big publications and like all these big networks, none of them were Black women. Like none of them. And if it were like, maybe you saw like one or two Black men, but it would only be Black men. And it would only be men. It would be like no Black women, barely any woman of color. And so I was like, I want that space. Like, let me, yeah, let's see if I can crawl in there, you know, make a name for myself and then dip. And so I very much
did. And you did.
Hey, you know. And so, yeah, I'm very much the type of person that's like, I feel like you need a me. I feel like y'all need me. I don't know. And so I just crawl in and I just like take up space and I leave. And hopefully like leave the door open for anybody else that looks like me that wants to do the same thing. Like, and so, yeah, so that's how my brain works. If I don't see me in a space, I'm going to enter that space by any means necessary. So yeah.
Another banger you just dropped. I don't know if you heard it. You said, I think you need a me. That's also a banger. Just want to put that out there.
1,000 you, there's only one of me. Yeah. There's 1,000 you. So
let me help you out by inserting myself in here. You know? Okay, next question is, what challenges have you had to work through to establish yourself in this space?
Challenges. Well, not being an A-lister. Not being an A-lister is definitely a big challenge. But people not being afraid, especially now, to take a chance on new ideas and things that are different. And you know, like that's definitely been hard to navigate. And then also sometimes being the only Black person in the room can get uncomfortable. And so yes, being the only Black person in some of these spaces at one point was like, it was like really uncomfortable. It was like, damn, like, you know, like I feel like I'm representing something that I didn't like sign up to represent, but I'm kind of the representation because I am the Black person in the room. And so, yeah, we need more diversity up in here. Even in 2024, I'm saying that. But yeah, so I would say those things.
Okay, and what were some of the biggest challenges you faced while producing the pilot, and how did you overcome them?
It rained. It rained on the first day that we shot, and the script was not set up for it to rain. You know, like we were not set up for it to rain. But that's another thing about having a crew of people who know what the fuck they're doing around you. We made it work, and actually, there was like a scene where Zeno's like flipping the sign outside, and it's like raining, and it just worked out. It just made the scene look even more like him even more miserable, and it just made it even more funny. And so we just like kind of rolled with the punches and was like, okay, if it's gonna rain, we're gonna use that to our advantage. And so, you know, yeah. So that weather changes are a bitch. Like Mother Nature just does what she wants. So
100%. Yeah. Also very funny with the sign turning in the rain. That's perfect. Absolutely perfect, actually. Okay. So going more into the Kickstarter, first, congratulations on, you know, just launching a Kickstarter in the first place. That's 100%. Can you walk us through the decision to go independent?
Man, when I tell you I've been fighting it, I've been fighting it. Like, oh my God. But I was like, am I really going to go another year sitting on this idea and letting it get stale? You know, like at least if I make a Kickstarter, if it doesn't do what I want, at least the noise is out there. At least you know the demand is still there. Worst case scenario, everybody's just strapped for cash right now, and it is what it is. It doesn't mean that there's any less of a demand for a project like this. And at least I can say I tried. And another banger quote that, you know, get your notepads ready. Another banger quote is from like one of my favorite content creators / YouTubers is Evelyn from the internets. And she's a dear old friend of mine. And one of the things that she said in her video that I always remember and live by is never be afraid to be seen trying. And so that's one thing that I live by. At least I can say I tried. At least I can say, you know, I did what I could. Again, I'm not responsible for the outcome. I'm only responsible for the effort. So if I'm putting out this Kickstarter, I better damn well advertise it as much as I can, do what I need to do, make myself uncomfortable as much as I can to get the word out and to get the donations that we need. And at least I can say, after all is said and done, I tried, I believed, and I did what I could. So.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, cool. Okay, so have you run into any unexpected surprises, positive or otherwise, since going independent? And we also saw on social media that the producer of Harley Quinn and Abbott Elementary followed you, so that's pretty cool. And that's, if anything, a great example of like, let people see that you're trying, because then people who are in positions that can probably help you out can see, oh wow, she really wants this. So yeah. Going back to the question though, have you run into any unexpected surprises, positive or otherwise, since going independent?
Yeah, I will say like a lot of top comic book YouTubers found out about this and have been really supportive, like Comic Tropes on YouTube and Comics Explained recently on YouTube. And they've been like really cool about, sharing it with their audience and like getting the word out about it. I was very blown away. I was like, what? Do y'all know I used to have my little comic book YouTube back in the day, and I would like talk about the comics and do comic hauls and stuff, and I would watch y'all and get all my information and da-da-da. And so that was really cool. And also just seeing like all the TikToks and reactions that people are making, and like I just want to say, I did not ask anybody to create any content for the comic shop. I did not create or the Kickstarter. And so these are people doing it just for the love of the idea, for the love of the people involved. And like, it's been really, really, really cool to see. Was not expecting that much hype around it. And so, yeah, those were like some really pleasant surprises. Negative surprises, I don't think that I've encountered any so far. But yeah, so.
Nice. Well, those are all the questions that I have. Would
Amazing.
You like to just, I know, we did great. We did great, actually. There's a lot of bangers in this. But is there anything you want to say to the audience before I wrap up? Just about anything in your mind or heart that you want to say?
Yeah, our Kickstarter ends on December 17th, and we are trying to raise $160,000 to fund one season of the show, 6 episodes, all 20 minutes each. And so you can find it somewhere. Hopefully there will be a link, and if there's not, there's probably a link in my bio at Cheyenne the Geek on all social media. And then you can also follow the show at the Comic Shop series on TikTok, Instagram, and those two. TikTok and Instagram currently. And so yeah.
Yeah, and so Cheyenne, can you just give us a quick overview about what the Comic Shop is about?
Yeah, so the Comic Shop is a workplace comedy about a crew of 4 friends running a comic book store and struggling to keep it afloat, but striving to keep it afloat by any means necessary, by any ridiculous means necessary. And so every day there's a new antic. They're trying to pay their rent, but they're also in a world where everybody's going digital now, and you can order all your trades and your Funkos and all that stuff online and not have to interact with anybody. So they're basically struggling to convince people that the IRL comic store experience is still worth it. And also they're struggling with financial issues, and they're also struggling with, big box bookstores popping up everywhere with coffee stores attached to them. And they're like, oh my God, how do we compete with a big store with a coffee shop attached? This is too much. And so, yeah, they're going through their trials and tribulations while also learning how to work with each other, because they're friends, but they've never actually had to work together in that capacity. And so a lot of their personalities clash, which we see in the pilot. And so, yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah! All right, that's all.
Amazing. Okay, ladies, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye, Cheyenne.
Bye. That was loud.
As of this recording, the Comic Shop Kickstarter has 300 backers, which is crazy. If you want to contribute to this amazing project and help bring it to life, you can visit their Kickstarter and donate starting, today to December 17th, which is a Tuesday. And if you are unable to support financially, that is okay. Just spreading the word helps a lot. So with all that being said, I'm Krystal Shanelle. You can find me on all socials under Krystal Shanelle. And I'm here with BlackGirlGamers, and I hope you guys had a great time.